Hello everyone, this is Ms. Long and I'd like to share with you a video syllabus, basically a very brief video that walks you through the printed syllabus that is in your course. This isn't a replacement for reading that. You still need to be aware of everything that's in there, but this will show you some of the major highlights of that syllabus. So this is for the fall semester of English 10 at Jeffco Virtual. So the first thing is that what our course content is, what it is we're here for, what it is that we are learning. And much of the semester you'll see really is focused on nonfiction and writing and reading about our world, because in many ways this is directly relevant to what you're doing in the rest of your life. But we will start by looking at some of those societal issues in literature. We're going to be having a choice book unit where you'll choose a book based on a universal idea or subject matter like love or war or the individual in society. These ideas or themes, almost subjects that don't go away no matter what the society is. And so we'll take a look at that through different books that everyone will be reading and share together some different insights on those major subjects. We'll go from there to the contemporary essay, where you'll be learning a little bit about different patterns you can use for essays and transitions, thesis, all of the organization, but also some foundational research skills. You'll be writing about an issue that you're passionate about, that you care about, whether that is euthanasia or police brutality that's been popular lately, or maybe it could be the influence of technology in our lives, something relevant to our society now that you have an opinion about and you want to change the world over. So that's kind of that unit there. Unit 3 on persuasion very nicely piggybacks on that contemporary essay, because you're looking at persuasion in advertising and politics, as well as any type of advertising that involves not only words, but images, visual texts. And then our fourth unit is on debate, where you take a controversial topic and persuade using logical arguments and research-based information. If you want to be real clever, you might want to try to find one topic that you really care about that you could learn about in depth. And if you are particularly passionate about an issue, I would really recommend that. A little bit about communication. Just a reminder, I can be reached through this email address, this phone and text. Tuesdays, I'm at Glennon Heights face-to-face, and Wednesdays, I have a live help session from 10 to 11 in the morning. You can also make an appointment with me at this Laura Long You Can Book Me address. So at any time, if you have a question, please reach out. I love hearing from students, and no question should go unanswered. Some of the materials that you'll need include a book or ebook for Unit 1. You'll need to get a copy of whichever book you choose. You may want some office supplies and notebooks to organize yourself. So a lot of times students prefer printouts of their work, and I certainly have been known to take photocopies of handwritten work for some of those assignments. So you may want some of the pen and paper, even though this is an online course. A public library card, an office suite for a word processor presentation software, a web browser, and a functional email address where you will receive messages throughout the semester. Time commitment for this course. If you think of a traditional brick and mortar course, you would attend 5 days a week for approximately an hour, or if you were on block schedule, it might be 4 to 5 hours, but in a block form, and then you would be expected to do some homework outside of that. So that's where we come up with this number, 5 to 7 hours per week, and most students have told me that they put approximately this time into my course. Our weeks run from Monday through Sunday. Every Monday you will receive new content. It will be due generally Wednesday and Sunday. So 2 deadlines during the week to kind of help you pace yourself. And I will give you a suggested schedule each week where you have some day-by-day recommendations on what you should work on. Let's see. Attendance. The state requires us to take attendance, which looks a little different in an online setting, but it basically means you need to log in every 24 hours, Monday through Friday. So I will take attendance at 4 p.m. and I'm going to look at the previous 24 hours. So by Monday at 4 p.m., if you have logged in between Friday 4 p.m. and Monday 4 p.m., you're good for Monday. On Tuesday, I will look to see for a login between Monday at 4 p.m. and Tuesday at 4 p.m. And then same thing for Wednesday. On Wednesday 4 p.m. I will look at a login from Tuesday afternoon, evening to Wednesday afternoon. So just be aware that you do need to do that as a hoop for the state. But attendance is also more than just logging in. It is about accessing the information that you need to do well. It's about getting updates. It's about sharing with classmates. There's a lot of stuff happening online. So attendance is quite a bit more than just logging into Schoology. You'll be doing a variety of assignments, daily assignments, notes, short responses, interactive videos, weekly journals, quizzes, major writing assignments, that's the essay, discussions, projects, and extra credit opportunities. One of those assignments you'll do on a regular basis is the discussion board. And this is not a replacement for, but an expansion of group discussion that you would have in a brick and mortar class. This has to be done on time because, as you know, group discussion that occurs in a brick and mortar would end. You can't walk into classroom late and expect to have a discussion with people who've left the classroom. So I expect participation throughout the week, and there's no credit for late posts. So you really need to be on top of these so that you can interact with your peers and really establish a learning environment that is collaborative. Late assignments in general, and these are not discussions, have a policy of 10% off for the first week, 20% off for more than 1 week late, and that's the maximum that would be deducted. But the unit will close 1 week after the last assignment in that unit. And the reason is I don't want to have students who are an entire unit behind. It's too demoralizing. So I want to be able to give you a fresh start 4 times during the semester. You start, you do as much of the unit as you get done. Presumably that's everything. And then when that unit closes, you get a fresh start to start on Unit 2. At the end of the semester, I will reopen everything. And often on an individual basis, if you're caught up in the current unit, but you didn't quite finish the last, I will reopen it for you individually. But everyone will have that opportunity at the semester's end. The grades are based on standard grading, 90% an A, 80% a B, 70% and 60% for passing. I do round up. Students ask me that. Is it 59.5% passing? Yes, it is. Barely. Comment on grades, check them regularly. Select one day that will be your day to check those grades. And look for feedback either in the Google document you submit or in the Dropbox where you submit the assignment. And that's the feedback that's really essential to show you how to improve your grades and how to improve your work in the future. Remind 101 is a service I'd like for you to subscribe to. There's information in that first weekly session. And it is basically a text reminder or could be an email reminder of important upcoming deadlines. So I might put a reminder in there that, hey, there's a weekly session starting now, come get some help. Or I might put a reminder in, hey, your major project is due on Friday, do you have your stuff ready? So that's just intended to help you pace yourself. Netiquette. You will be working a lot online with others through the printed word, and so it's important to realize that there is a person behind those words, and that person doesn't necessarily like to be screamed at through capital letters or condescended to. We like to keep things in standard English, not text language, and use a tone that is polite, enhanced by those emoticons that really help us to understand what you intended as your message. Also a recommendation if you're upset about something, this may come into play when we start discussing debate topics. Don't respond immediately if you're upset because you may not have the kind of polite tone that you think you're going to have. The written word is a little bit tricky. So netiquette is basically a kind of an idea of conventions that you'll want to use when you're working with others online. Another topic that comes in with online work is kind of a bundle here of integrity, plagiarism, and Turnitin. Many of you have used Turnitin as an online software that checks all of your written work to see if you've copied ideas from other people. I tell the story in the syllabus that I remember being a second grader at Wheat Ridge. I had a spelling test, and I couldn't remember how to spell the word kept. Like I kept careful watch of him. And I looked to my neighbor's paper. I still remember that. I'm several decades removed from that, but I still remember it. So the point of this is that who you are and your respect for yourself is the one thing that's going to stay with you. Your papers, you're going to forget about in 10, 20, 30 years, but who you are is going to be a part of you. And so I'm asking you to step up to the plate and show integrity with your work, take ownership of your work, and be honest. And that's really never been a problem for students. What happens is that plagiarism becomes an accidental thing oftentimes, because maybe you're not realizing how you're taking notes, and so you do end up actually copying word for word too close. Some students don't necessarily understand how things are to be cited. There are many different kinds of plagiarism, ranging from accidental to intentional. I went out and spent $15 on a paper. Just know that Turnitin exists for that purpose. Turnitin exists so that we can protect your integrity and encourage you to develop your writing skills that you need for this course and for life. Writing is one of those things employers are always looking for, writing skill. So as you're going through the course, just remember that there's many different types of problems you're going to encounter. If it's a question about the course or the assignment, that's me. Come to me. I can help you with limited technical questions, but my primary function is to look at the course and the content of English. You'll find that you can get some answers from your classmates, and there's a special discussion board built into the course for that purpose. And then there's some questions like, why can't I see this video? What happened? Where you really need to go to the tech desk, and the link for that is on our J21VA site. So that is an overview of the syllabus. Again, you go back and look at the actual words, but that's kind of the overview of our course, overview of the syllabus. That's the playing field. Now let's get started and have a good semester. Thanks.